Woof. Hello, howdy, and welcome to this World of Warships video with your host, Tater Dawg. Today, we have a look at the Tier 6 British battleship slash battlecruiser, the Repulse. And I'm calling this look at it a Tater's perspective because I am not a super unicum, and I have my own opinions about what makes the ship good or bad for more average players. So we're going to try and go over the ship's stats, and I will be using both the warship site as well as, and I'll show this to you, as well as the shiptool.st site to do stat comparisons during this review. So going back to the warship site, right now the Repulse is available in the dockyard. You can pick that up at phase 18. I believe if you started the dockyard with the starter kits that you can purchase if you choose to spend money, I believe you could get up to 16 phases, and so you only had to earn 2 to get to the Repulse. And honestly, the Repulse, I believe, is probably the jewel of the dockyard event, in my opinion. If we start off with this, we're going to compare this ship to all of the Tier 6 battleships and heavily also compare it to the Warspite and Queen Elizabeth, which are the other Tier 6 British battleships. So let's start out, and we're going to look initially at the hull, survivability, its maneuverability, concealment, and then go look at the stats, and then we're going to come back and look at the armament on the ship, and then go look at the stats at that before we see some gameplay that I recorded from my stream on this ship. So let's start with the survivability. You've got 56,100 hit points, and which is pretty good at the tier, as well as a 16% torpedo damage reduction, which is not that great at the tier, but it is designed to be a fast battlecruiser, so that's understandable. If we look at the armor real quick, you've got a torpedo protection here, 26 millimeters on the side, but we're going to remove that so we can see. So basically, you have a weak nose and stern on this ship. You have a 16 millimeter nose, as well as the decking on the nose and the stern. It's all 16 millimeter, and that can be farmed pretty easily by a lot of HE spammers. You also have in midships, you have your standard 16 millimeter superstructure, and you have a lot of it. So this ship is susceptible to HE farming. You do get a little bit of a boost on the deck armor in the midships. It goes up to 26 millimeters. And then along the sides, you have a strip just back from the nose of 102 millimeter that helps protect your citadel, which we'll see in a second. You've got an upper strip of 38 millimeter. You've got a mid strip there of 152 millimeters and 229 millimeters around the waterline in the citadel, with these little strips in the back being 152 and 76 millimeters. So if you keep the ship angled, you can bounce any shells that hit low or mid ships. You can bounce shells. So it's not a total loss on the armor, but you do have to pay very close attention to how you're angling your ship and your positioning. This ship does eat citadels relatively easily if you do not angle properly, and you can see with the thin nose you may even eat some citadels through the nose. Let's take off some of this other armor so we can see the citadel here. It's got kind of a wonky shape here in the front, so you can see anything that comes through the nose right here can potentially plunge right down into this in the citadel. That's why I'm saying you want to make sure and angle it the best you can so you can try to avoid that. Citadel looks like it sits just a little above the waterline, and as I said, if you show broadside in this thing, you will get citadeled, especially if it's other repulses that are shooting AP at you. So keep that in mind as you sail your ship and keep it angled. Now going down the list, next we have our maneuverability. And that's one of the gimmicks of the ship. 31.7 knots, best at tier. You can get that up to 33.3 with a speed flag. Let's see what else is there. And if you do also have a speed boost on this ship, which we'll see in a second. which can get you up close to about 36 knots. And if you want to go crazy and put brisk on your captain skill, when you're unspotted, you can darn near reach 40 knots on this ship. So it's just stupidly fast. And that's a good thing, because what that's going to allow you to do is a couple of things. The good points are, if your flank collapses, you can get the hell out of Dodge in a hurry. If you win your flank and need to reposition elsewhere, or for whatever reason need to reposition to help your team, you can do that in this ship. It's fast enough to do it. It's not like being in one of the slower boats that goes maybe 22 knots where you can't get to where you need to be. The drawback to all of that speed is, if you're sailing in a particular direction and you sail into trouble, you can get into it a lot quicker too. So keep that in mind. You do have a 860 meter turning circle, which is worst at tier. This is a long ship, and we'll see that in a second. Your rudder shift time, and I do have the rudder shift module on this, is 11.5 seconds, which is not horrible with that engaged. So we'll look at the base values when we're looking at the ship tool site. Your detectability range with the captain, with concealment on it, is 12.6, so the ship is relatively stealthy for the tier. So that's another good thing. You can sail quickly into an area stealthily, get some shots off, kite away. You have a air detectability of 8.7, and I believe that is all for that. So let's go over and look at the stats on this ship. Do a little comparison here. So the first thing we want to do is go over here, and we're going to look at, I talked about this before, this being a long ship. The Repulse is 241 millimeters long. That's by far longer than any other ship at the tier. And when you're comparing that to Queen Elizabeth and Warspite, it's almost 45 meters longer than those boats. So that's pretty incredible. If you care about the tonnage of the ships, not that it makes a huge difference in game, but Repulse is fifth highest tonnage out of the 18 Tier 6 ships, sits at 38,300 tons, which is a little bit more than Queen Elizabeth and Warspite. From your health standpoint, that's what we're talking about before. Repulse is at 56,100, which is fifth on the list of Tier 6 ships, so you got a good health pool. You're a little bit better than Queen Elizabeth, about 800 better, and you're about 2,300 better than Warspite. Maximum speed, this is what we were talking about earlier, 31.7 knot base, which is significantly faster than even the next ships in line. So you've got that ability to get where you need to be, or to get away from where you don't want to be. Detectability. We look, the Repulse falls at 6th, so that's pretty good. You got same concealment as the Queen Elizabeth, and maybe a couple hundred meters worse than the Warspite, comparatively. Not too worried about the air detectability, but if we want to look at it, Repulse is 12th, so you're low-mid for the tier. Turning radius is what we talked about before with that long ship. You're the worst turning radius at the tier, so you have to be careful with that. You know, with the module, you do get your rudder shift down to a reasonable amount, and it's fairly responsive, I think, in my playing of the ship. So it's not, certainly not the worst thing that it could be. Looking at the rudder shift times, Repulse is 15th, so you're down near the bottom in base rudder shift time, but it's comparable to the Queen Elizabeth and Warspite, which turn well because they're much smaller ships. Torpedo protection, as we mentioned, you're a battle cruiser, not a heavily armored battleship, so you are down at the bottom there, and fire resistance is the same for everything at the tier. Now let's go over and look at the consumables really quickly here, and this is where some interesting stuff comes to play. So if you look at the percentage of your total health that your repair party can heal, the Repulse, which is down here, it's basically the same as almost every ship at the tier. There's two ships that have better than normal repair percentages, and that's Warspite has an improved heal, and New Mexico has the American heal. But where the interesting thing comes up about the Repulse is it is the only Tier 6 battleship that has an improved Citadel repair percentage. So you can heal 33% of your Citadel damage, which is significantly better than the other battleships. So you take that, 12,000 damage off of a Citadel from a 16-inch gun or a 380, you can heal back 4,000 of that, where other boats are not healing back much of that. And of course, the other thing is you do have an engine boost. You're the only Tier 6 battleship to have that. So that's wonderful. Let's go back to the warships site again so we can look at the other items that we need to talk about before we go to the gameplay. We're going to look at basically our weaponry here. So we'll start off with AA and then just work our way up from there and save the guns for last, because that's the fun part to talk about. So with your AA, you've got 16 12.7 millimeter guns. You've got 8 20 millimeter guns. You got 24 40 millimeters Vickers, and you have 6 102 millimeter guns as well. And I'm thinking that is dual purpose on these secondary armaments that we'll see up there. Apparently the other secondaries must not be dual purpose. So honestly, if you look at the AA, it's for the tier, it's not very good. AA in and of itself is kind of a joke all around, but this is particularly not good. So you're going to have to rely on your speed to help you out if a carrier is after you. The other thing to consider that's very anemic is your shell explosions. You only get one shell explosion, and I mean that's like destroyer anemic there, and it's not very good explosion damage. So keep that in mind. You get 8-kilometer airstrike. Drops a couple of bombs. Won't go into detail about that. Now, lastly, your secondary. So you've got 6 102s in single mounts. There's 3 on a side. You've got one right here, and one right here. Same place on the other side of the boat. You've also got 9 102 millimeter guns with a 6-second reload. Longer reload for some reason, but they're in triple mounts. You've got 3 of those triple mounts. There's one right here, one on the other side of the ship, and then there's one in the back. So theoretically, you can get 6 of these firing to one side and 3 of these. So basically, you can get 9 102s to either side, and the secondaries have a 5.2 kilometer range here. I believe the base is actually 5 from what I saw before. So regardless, not a ship you want to build in the secondaries for. That's not what this is for. What this boat is about is the main battery. So the drawback on this is you only have 6 guns. You got 3 double turrets with 381s, and these are similar guns to the Repulse, or to the Warspite and Queen Elizabeth. So you got 6 of these, 27-second reload. That's to kind of help make up for only having 6 guns. With Jack Dunkirk on here, so with a Dunkirk captain and the turret traverse skill that's enhanced, you can get the turn time down to 24 seconds, which is awesome. That's a very good turn time. Your maximum dispersion at maximum range is 199 meters, but we'll look at that again on the stats and talk about that a bit. You have a range of 19.8 kilometers, which is very good, and you do have a spotter plane on this boat, which we'll look at in one second. You have a HE shell that does 5,300 damage, 34% fire chance, and you do get the improved British and German pin, which is 95 millimeters in this case. You do have that slow muzzle velocity of 732 meters per second. If you play British battleships, you know what that feels like. And you have AP shells that will do maximum damage of 11,400 on a Citadel. So let's go over now and take a look at the stats comparison. And we're going to start off, let's start off looking at the AA first. And if you look at if you rate the strength on this, you can see the Repulse is 15th. You're down in the bottom here. You don't have very much range. As I mentioned, there's one flat count, so it's very anemic. Not really a lot of sense in going over this very much, but you're significantly worse than some of the other boats. The Queen Elizabeth, by comparison, actually has pretty decent AA for the tier. I won't say it's good AA, it's just comparatively decent for the tier. So let's go over now and look at the secondaries, just so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look at the secondary DPM, Repulse is third from the bottom. It's just not very good. You know, your range is not where you should be building into it in any way, shape, or form. So just keep that in mind. Even if you look at your shells per minute, you know, you're second from the last. If you look at your fires per minute, you are last. So that should give you an idea that the secondaries are not worth it. Don't do it. That's the best thing I can say. Now we're going to go over now to the main battery and take a look here. Now, because you only have 6 guns, that's going to be a drawback. And this is where the numbers can be a little bit misleading. But if you look at the AP DPM, you're at 152,000, which is the worst at tier. If you look at the HE DPM, you're second worst at tier, only above the Prince Friedrich, and that's because that's German, and Germans have notoriously low HE damage output. So, but that's because you have 6 guns. If you had 8 guns, you know, you would be up a little more up here where the Warspite or the Queen Elizabeth is potentially. You'd be up in a better spot there. But don't let it fool you, particularly on the APM side or AP side, because you can deal a lot of damage. You can pop up with your good detection and catch somebody's broadside and blap them, whether it be a cruiser or whatever. I'll show a couple other things that help out with that. So when we look at the range of the guns again that we already looked at, you're at 19.8, which is only behind some of the Japanese ships, and you do have a spotter plane. So that gets you out there another 20%. So that's great. As we mentioned on reload is very good. Your second best reload, sitting here tied for third technically. The turn time of the guns, best at tier with the Mackinson. The thing that we really need to talk about, though, is the dispersion of the guns. And you are, in this ship, Repulse is by far the best at the tier. So let's look at this for a second. So there are 3 ships at the tier that have what you would call battlecruiser dispersion as opposed to battleship dispersion. So you see the horizontal dispersion for Repulse, Novorossiysk, and Mackinson. And bear in mind, these values in this list are all normalized to 12 kilometers for direct comparisons from ship to ship, which is nice. When you look at a dispersion value on the Warships website, which I'll show you this, if I can find my mouse. When I look at that and it says 199 meters, that's at maximum range. And battleships have all different kinds of ranges, so those numbers can be misleading. And that's why I like this list. Everything is normalized to 12 kilometers for things that matter of that nature. So if you look at this, so you're at 149 meters horizontal dispersion, and you have the best vertical dispersion in the game, 78 meters. So you've got, you're about around 30 to 35 meters better in horizontal dispersion than most of the other average battleships at the tiers. And on vertical dispersion, you're around 20 meters better than the average vertical dispersion. So what that horizontal and vertical dispersion are is if you fired, say, 1,000 shells, that's saying that they would all disperse in a smaller horizontal and vertical pattern. So if you drew an oval around the target you were aiming at, they would disperse all within a smaller oval than the other battleships. So they just land in a smaller area. Then you have your Sigma, which is 2.0, which is tied for best at tier with Queen Elizabeth and Warspite, as well as the couple of the Japanese, the PEF and the Icy. The Sigma just means that more of the shells, a higher Sigma means more of the shells tend to land towards the center of that oval where all your shells are landing. So they tend to group more towards the center when the Sigma's high. When it's low, they tend to spread out amongst the oval a little more. So I won't go into that any deeper than that, but just let it be said, you have by far the most accurate guns, and you can see it when you're shooting at stuff with this ship. You'll love the way the dispersion looks. And it doesn't mean you can't get something a little wonky once in a while, but for the most part, not too bad at all. So great stuff. A couple other things of note. If you look at the AP shells, and I'm going to specifically compare these to the Queen Elizabeth and Warspite here in the list. So all of them are the same caliber, same weight, same amount of damage, same speed and all that. One thing that you'll see if you go over to the pin values, the Warspite has a little better pin, and that's because it has a better Krupp value. Little different drag coefficient, but particularly a better Krupp value, which gives it more pin in Warships estimation. So that's kind of an interesting thing. But if we look at the pin overall, Warspite sits right in the middle, with Repulse and Queen Elizabeth just below it. So you're right in the middle with the pin. Obviously, something like West Virginia with her 16mm guns is the gold standard for that. The one other thing that's very interesting about the Repulse compared to the Queen Elizabeth and Warspite, the Repulse gets that short fuse time of the British, same as the Queen Elizabeth. The Warspite does not get that. And what that should help with is if you're shooting at cruisers, should increase your odds of getting full pins and citadels instead of overpins. So keep that in mind with these shells. That's one thing that makes them good. You're a pretty good cruiser hunter in this boat with your speed and with that short fuse time. On the HE side, again, if you look at the damage for the shells, the Queen Elizabeth gets a little more damage on her shell for some reason. Don't know why. But you got the same damage as the Repulse, 5,300. You do get, with the Repulse, as I mentioned, that increased pin that British and German ships get on HE, on larger HE shells, whereas the Warspite doesn't get that. And for whatever reason, the fire chance is 1% lower than what the Queen Elizabeth gets. I don't know why. You look at the fires per minute, though, it's pretty low. You're next to the worst, and that's again a function of having 6 guns. You know, if you didn't have 6 guns, you'd be a few spots up the list. So your guns are pretty good at starting fires, but your bread and butter is going to be in your AP. So keep that in mind and fire accordingly. I believe that's about all we have there. I'm going to go back. Oh, one other thing I did forget that I do need to show is the gun angles. I know a lot of people always ask about that, so I do want to bring up the Repulse's information and show you the gun angles. So you've basically got a 30-degree angle required to get your guns on the target, which is very good, and that's both nose in or kiting. You get the same thing, and that's exactly the same, believe it or not, as Queen Elizabeth. You get the same thing, but if you compare that to the Warspite, the Warspite does not have the best angles, and it's even worse when it's kiting than when it's nose in. So keep that in mind. You do have good gun angles, so this ship works good kiting or pretty well nose in. It's pretty equal for that, although you've got a little less 16mm armor area on the back than you do on the front, so it does make a decent kiter, so keep that in mind. Now, that being said, going back to the ship here, we're going to have some gameplay coming up here. This will be from my stream. Before we do that, I would like to invite everybody to come check out my stream, and you can find that on twitch.tv/Tater_Dawg. That's TATER_DAWG. You can find also a link to that down in the description for the video, as well as links to my social media that will give you go live notifications and such. So go check that out, please, and go out there and follow me and check out the stream when you get a chance. Now, that being said, we're about to go to the gameplay, and again, this is from the stream. This is the very first game I played in randoms on this ship, and I played it on stream. I'm going to leave the stream commentary in place and let that speak for itself. And after the game is over, I will come on and back on to the site here and give some final thoughts on the ship. if there's anything I want to point out during the battle, I'll pop up some text on the screen. So now enjoy the battle, and I'll be back with you to give final thoughts when it's over. I'm using Jack Dunkirk because you get even better grease the gears than my other captain.
Dunkirk on the other one.
Yeah. So I've got a 24-second turret traverse. Oh, and don't forget you get battle cruiser dispersion on this thing. Your dispersion on 20 kilometers is only 199 meters.
Oh.
That is battle cruiser dispersion.
Wow.
So that is better than battleship. If you look at other 381s that have a 20 kilometer range, you'll probably see more like about a 200 and what?
That's
40 or
Slava.
something.
Better than Slava or my
Yeah.
Yami. Wow.
As a matter of fact, what else do we have? Oh, like here you go. Let's look real quick at the Warspite because it's the same guns. Warspite. Well, no. Now Warspite at 16 kilometers has 204. So if you extrapolate that out to 20 kilometers, you would be
a lot worse.
Yeah, it would be a lot worse. Exactly. It would be 20% or 20% more. So yeah, wow. Most definitely. So anyway, let's roll it. These are good boats. So far, the feedback I'm seeing on Repulse is that it's the actual jewel of the dockyard.
How did we earn that? Oh, this came from the dockyard, right?
Uh-huh. When you hit level, was it 16 or 18 or whatever it is?
Yeah.
This map. This wonderful map. I'm not sure what to do with this map because this boat's fast. It really needs to be on the flank. So I don't know if we need to swing out and go down the IJ line.
I think so, if that's what it's going to be.
It's a fast boat. It's either that or we flank. What's on the far side? A Bayern. I mean, the Bayern's not slow. Oh, and we have a speed boost on this thing.
Yep.
So if you were to put a speed flag on it and use the speed boost, and if you ran like the, was it Swift and Silent skill or whatever it is, you could probably get damn near 40 knots in this ship.
Well, that's crazy.
Does this tell what it...
Make me want to play tier 6.
So you only get 8%, and I think the top speed was what, 31.7?
Right.
So you get an 8% boost on that, which is what, 2.5-ish? So yeah, it'll go up to about 34 with the speed boost, which is best at the tier. Oh, there's a DeGrasse. I think he should be the first volunteer. And I didn't have my AP loaded.
He turned and me either.
Oh, they have a repulse too, so.
Yeah. How the hell did I hit? Wow, that was. I don't know how I hit him, but I'll take it.
Well, what you have to do is catch him in a turn.
But I fired and he turned the other way. And somehow I
He's actually slowing down.
Yeah, I see that.
Uh-oh. That could be bad news for him.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's why. Goodbye. You know what? Since they're going that way, and I don't really want to go that way. I don't know, though. Let's see.
We can kite the other way back towards B, but there's a DD there.
Oof. Our Cadouin just took a spank. Oh, yeah, we need to whack that frickin' Aoba.
I did.
If we can. I'm almost reloaded and the damn island's in the way.
I've almost got my rear guns around.
Oh, I can't.
And he's turning.
I can't clear the island, can I? I don't think. Oh, yeah, I can with the rear guns. Bye. Oh, he got lucky. Okay.
Not much.
He's a goner now. Alright. There's the enemy repulse. Now, the enemy repulse is somebody to shoot at. Because we know what the armor on this boat's like.
Soft.
If we can hit him... didn't lead him enough. I got it used to shooting at him. Ooh, this Arizona worries me a little bit.
Yeah, and he's in a good position to target too.
Fire, fire, fire.
God, these things are tight.
Problem solved, sir.
Oh, big whack on the Arizona.
Another 8.
Okay, watch out for Bayarn coming in. I don't know what this Bayarn behind me is damn doing, other than annoying the shit out of me.
Fire, fire, fire.
Okay. Yeah, Arizona needs to go down. See if we can take care of that. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Wow, Arizona's still freaking alive. Unbelievable.
I knew he was going to die as soon as I shot him. Shot at him.
Shots out on Leander.
Leander's going to be a problem.
Yep. I don't know if I got him. Ooh, that one Bayern just took a whack. I just keep getting set on fire because this damn Bayern is firing frickin' HE all day. I gotta get my guns synced up. I gotta fire 6 shells at the time.
Yeah, I know, that's my...
I got my guns out of sync.
At least the Bayern's decided it's better to run.
Still firing frickin' HE. Okay, ooh, Repulse just took a whack. Okay, let's see if I caught him this time. Looks like it. Oh, yeah. Yep. Now he's got torps headed towards him.
Engine boost deactivated.
Where's the enemy? I was just told enemy submarine is in sight.
Really now? Yep, there we go. Oh, double Citadel. Nice.
Allied battleship.
Nice.
Very nice. Okay, Bayarn. Leander is still over there, so...
Oh, he's on the other side, so...
Yeah, screw you, Bayarn. I see where he is. Hopefully our DD can go in there and weed him out. Got some hits on the Baron.
There's a slim chance we may actually win this.
We're gonna lose our sub.
Aha, there's the other Baron. Look at that. And is he firing HE too? Ah, you suck, buddy. Well, have at this right here. Papoom. Nice.
Engine boost activated.
Okay, I'm getting in his secondary range, which is not a good thing.
Fire, fire, fire.
Come on, die, bitch. One more salvo. He's not even looking at me. That's fine by me. Die.
We've sunk an allied battleship.
There's Leander. He's running for his life.
He's almost dead.
Yep. So where's this other Baron? Yeah, he's running for his life too.
This.
There's a DD over here.
Aha, there he is. Oh, I didn't get a good hit on him. Oh, somebody just got a whack.
That was me. And he still don't know it.
Whack-a-doodle-doo. Uh-oh, here comes some.
Enemy destroyer sighted.
Ah, not quite. Come on. Get him. Get him. Oh, my lord. Bracket job. Bracket job. I'll take this, though. Go ahead and load the HE.
I will after this salvo. I'm not going to waste it.
Because I'm not even going to be able to shoot at him for a bit yet. He's probably just going to try and YOLO and make damage if he can. I mean, which, well, maybe not.
Spotter returning to ship.
Oh, oh. Ah, just missed him. Was a little short. Well, he dropped his load.
And I'm not going to get a shot at him.
Engine
Damn.
boost deactivated.
Oh, well, he's dead to somebody there.
Yeah, 22 hit points.
Yeah. He's probably dead to the Baron.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm pretty damned impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like anything. If you keep it angled, even though the armor's not great, you can still do okay. And don't give broadside like the enemy Repulse did to me and got double citadeled. So I'll take 113k damage in my first run in this ship. That's not bad at all. This is a pretty strong little tier 6.
Yeah.
Look at that. First and third, man.
Wow.
So that was my very first game in the Repulse. What can we take away from it? Well, obviously you can see the speed is the biggest gimmick of the ship. You saw what happened when the enemy Repulse gave me broadside one too many times, and we finally deleted him with a double citadel. The guns are accurate, so I would say that the gimmicks of the ship is you have good stealth, elite speed, excellent AP, very good HE. The drawbacks are going to be weak armor, bad AA. Going to be your main drawbacks, and of course having only 6 guns are going to be a little bit of a drawback, but as you see, because of the good gun accuracy, we still broke 100K in our first game in the thing, so that's great. So would I recommend this? Well, it depends on your play style. If you like the tier 9 Georgia, there's a lot of characteristics in play style that this ship has similar to the Georgia, with the exception of the secondaries. So you can't push in this ship quite as well as you can in a Georgia because it's not secondaries, but gun-wise, it reminds me a lot of Georgia. Very low amount of guns, but very accurate and hard-hitting. So that's something that you can take away. If you're looking for something that you can HE spam something at tier 6, then you'll probably want to look somewhere like the Ismail or Novorossiysk, or maybe even Queen Elizabeth or Fuso, something like that. If you're looking for something that just has higher DPM, then again, you're in the territory of maybe your 16-inch gun ships like the Mutsu and the West Virginia, who West Virginia happens to be one of my favorites. Or maybe even, again, Ishmael and Fuso have pretty good AP DPM. So those are the kind of things you want to look for. But I would rate this as a very good ship. And if Wargaming should put it on sale for some type of game currency, whether it's real dollars or doubloons or coal, I doubt very seriously if it would be a steel ship. But if they put that on sale, I would strongly recommend everyone to look into the cost of it and consider buying that if it seems reasonably priced. So having said that, we'll end up the video and send you over to the outro. So have a good one. We'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.